I find that one of the biggest reasons people are unable to heal or move forward in life is they are unable to accept something within themselves that is negative. Perhaps it could be a belief, an experience, a situation. The reason for this is that people constantly confuse accepting with condoning. And because of this, they're unable to accept a situation. It's important for you to realize that you can't release something and you can't fix it until you first accept it. But accepting is not condoning. For example, if a person were to step on a nail and that nail would be in their foot, and then let's say that person's walking around constantly limping with a pain in their foot. If that person does not accept that there is a nail in their foot, then they can't actually remove the nail. So imagine this person's going around limping, wondering why their foot hurt. And someone says it's because you have a nail in your foot. And the person's like, no, there's no nail in my foot. I don't have a nail in my foot. I can't accept there's a nail in my foot. The reason people can't accept this is because they believe that they're condoning it, that they believe the acceptance itself is a form of saying, I'm happy with the nail, I agree with the nail, or I'm happy that the nail is there. If you can get past the idea and understand that accepting is not the same thing as condoning, then you'll be able to accept things in your life and release them. When you refuse to accept something, it has a paradoxical effect and it causes you to hold on to it. If you refuse to accept that you're broke, then you're holding on to poverty. If you refuse to accept that you're literate, then you're holding on to illiteracy. If you refuse to accept that you're physically weak, then you're holding on to weakness. Now keep in mind, accepting something does not mean condoning it, but it also means that you don't put conditions on your self-love. And that is another reason why people can accept things, because they believe their self-love is tied into that. So say, for instance, a man steps on a nail, and the reason he can't accept the fact that he stepped on a nail is because he has a belief that only competent people deserve love. And if he stepped on the nail, that means he's incompetent, and so he does not deserve love. So then he refuses to accept that he stepped on the nail. I find this is a very, very important concept. And if you can get this, it's really going to change your life. It's really going to change your ability to move through things. So just reflect on the idea that acceptance does not mean condoning, and choose to love yourself unconditionally, despite whatever experience you may be having. Remember, your experience does not define you, it's just an experience. So if there's something in your life, perhaps you're unhappy, perhaps you're in a relationship you do not like, perhaps you're broke or poor, perhaps you are ill, perhaps there's something in your life that you're unhappy with. Before you can let it go, you have to accept it. Accept that it's there. Once you accept that it's there, you're no longer fighting it and you're no longer resisting it. The act of resistance itself is actually an act of holding on to something. I know this may seem like a paradox to people, but the more you resist something, the more you refuse to accept it, the more you're actually holding on to it. And if you can remember that acceptance is not the same as condoning, and that your love of yourself, your self-worth, is not based upon a transitory condition, then you can allow yourself to accept things, and then through accepting them, you can allow yourself to move on. I hope this makes sense to you. If it does, please leave your comments below. Like and subscribe. It does help the algorithm, and it helps me. And I look forward to your comments. I hope you guys are having a great week.